Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Let's have some fun. Story inspired by Monica S. At 6:30 a.m., the doorbell woke me up. On Sunday in November 2022, that completely altered my life. I majored in business at the time and was planning to graduate in the summer. I was in my senior year of college. I maintained a small apartment by myself. Rebecca, my 19-year-old sister, arrived at the door and was visibly anxious. She came into my apartment and apologized for waking you up, but she couldn't wait. About me? I worriedly inquired after hearing her say, I had a vision. She nodded. Given that Rebecca frequently experiences visions, I wasn't all that surprised. But if she's so anxious and needs to see me at this hour of the morning, it must be serious. Since she was a young child, my sister has experienced visions, and they almost always come true. At least a portion of the visions. She always has two parts to her visions, but only one of them comes true. For instance, she once witnessed Mom feeding ducks in the park while a thief made off with her handbag. At the time, Rebecca was still very young, and we had not yet come to believe in her visions. In addition, not everything she saw actually happened. Thus, Mom thought about feeding the ducks a few days later while shopping through a park. But she decided she didn't have enough time, so she carried on with her purchases. Well, a thief took her bag and ran off with it a short while later. The thief probably would have taken another bag if she had remained in the park for longer. After that incident, we became aware of the pattern and typically stayed away from the worst parts of her visions. We think that a very small number of times we were able to avoid both of Rebecca's visions. For instance, my sister witnessed a dog being run over and killed by a car. We then brought the dog home and kept it. A few days later, we actually came across a lost dog and discussed our options. We were all quite busy, and since we didn't have a garden, it would be difficult to take care of it. However, we were aware that the dog would almost certainly be killed if we did nothing. In order to find either the real owner or a new home, we actually took the dog home before bringing it to the pound. When we checked in on the dog a few months later, we learned that he had a new home and was still alive. My sister recently experienced a vision once more, and this time it seemed to disturb her greatly. We sat in my living room, and I asked her, "What did you see?" Dennis L. Wagner was born on February 14, 2000, and passed away on November 3, 2023, according to his gravestone, which Mom and I visited to pay our respects. Oh, no. That was a shock. What was the other part? It was a scene of a Christmas tree with you, Mom, me, and another woman seated around it. A woman? Did I dress up as a woman for Christmas, you might ask? No, you weren't just dressing up. You were much more feminine than you could ever be right now in the way you moved, looked, and behaved. We drove together to Mom's house, which was an hour away, to talk to her about this because, after all, I'm a man and have never even dressed up as a woman. It was undoubtedly serious, so it would be best to elicit as much feedback as you can. Naturally, Mom was astounded to learn about Rebecca's vision. Only a year prior, she had lost her father, so the thought of losing her son at this time was almost unbearable. Even though I was still learning how to use it, I at least had a way out. There was a chance to become a woman. However, that wouldn't be simple or even feasible until Christmas, which was just a few weeks away, but since the first part of the vision would also take place in about a year, the second part of the vision didn't have to occur that year. So on November 3rd, 2023, we all agreed that being a woman would be sufficient. We briefly considered whether I might be able to escape it like we did with the dog a few years ago, but we saw no way out and the risk of death was too great anyhow. It is preferable to be a living woman than a dead man. I had almost a year to transition into a woman, but we decided it would be best to start right away, considering that I had already done a good deal of research online. My sister suggested that I take a more sensible action as well. She insisted that I immediately dress as a woman so that I could get used to it. I reluctantly concurred, realizing that she had a point. Rebecca immediately got to work by getting a tape measure telling me to take off my clothes and taking a variety of measurements. "Good," she said. "You're not much taller than me, only a little wider at waist and chest and a little narrower at hips. Quite some of my clothes should fit you. Now go into the bathroom to shower and shave your beard and legs." Shave my legs? Sure, pantyhose doesn't look that good on hairy legs. So I followed the instructions. While I was occupied with other things, Mom and Rebecca chose outfits for me from the ones my sister left at Mom's while she was away at school in the city. So after using the restroom, I stood in front of a heap of women's clothing. With some assistance, I put on a woman's outfit, including a short black skirt, a red sweater, tan pantyhose, and a bra filled with some socks. My feet were too big for either Mom's or Rebecca's shoes, so I didn't have any shoes. I didn't have any makeup, and my hair was too short for a woman, but as soon as I was told where the vanity was, everything changed. My mother and sister taught me how to apply makeup, but they insisted I do it myself because they wouldn't always be available. They finally gave their final approval of the outcome after numerous corrections. However, I was let down when I saw the outcome in a full-length mirror. I saw a man wearing women's clothing and makeup, not a woman. There was undoubtedly much more to be done, but I still had almost a year to become perfect. Additionally, the short hair didn't help at all. Mom noticed my disappointed expression and comforted me, saying, "Don't worry, this is just the first try, and with a wig, it'll look a lot better anyway. Besides, you don't wear any jewelry either." "Ah, yes," added Rebecca. "You'll have to get your ears pierced so you can wear nice earrings." "Oh, yeah. What else will I have to do?" I asked. "Mom, what name would you have given me if I had been born a girl?" "We didn't select any female names because we knew you're a boy before you were born," Mom said. "We'll see as you go on." "Ah, yes. You need a female name." "Yes, I like Denise too," Rebecca replied after giving it some thought. "But how about Denise? It's close to your male name." "Okay, sounds good. I'll be Denise," I said. I felt strangely uneasy in this attire, so I thought, well, I guess I can remove this all now. My sister retorted, "Oh no, Denise, you're far from finished." It led to practicing sitting, standing, and walking like a woman, and I was glad I didn't yet wear heels like my sister told me I'd do soon. "You have a lot to learn still, like how to move like a woman. And besides, it's best you wear women's clothes as much as you can so that it feels natural soon." But when it was finally time to return to the city, I took off my makeup and outfits and got back into my regular clothes. Rebecca did bring a good amount of her makeup and clothes, including some nightgowns, so I could wear them when I got home. I was relieved to live alone because the next morning I must have looked ridiculous in my pajamas. But before long, I was back in male attire and headed to college. When I had some free time, I looked up online resources and quickly became overwhelmed. There were thousands of pages, and I struggled to find any that actually contained data that I could use. Regardless, I gained a lot of knowledge about being transgender. I didn't particularly want to get dressed up again when I got home, but I knew it was necessary. I therefore chose what appeared to be a suitable ensemble and put it on. Then I added some makeup, which took a lot longer than I preferred. After that, I tried to spend the rest of the evening acting like a woman, but I didn't really feel like one. Rebecca took me shopping the following day. We first entered a wig store where an elderly woman assisted us. She reassured me when I confessed, nervously, that I was looking for a wig for myself by saying that many crossdressers bought wigs from her store. Going there was well worth the slight embarrassment because they had a wide variety of high-quality wigs that I could try on to find the one that was truly right for me. It was shoulder length, the same blonde color as my own hair. My sister then led me inside a shoe store, but we weren't the only clients here. I eventually had to adjust to that, though. I didn't anticipate being able to change into a woman without going through an interim period, during which I would be perceived as a man dressed as a woman. Therefore, when a young salesperson asked if she could assist us, I tremblingly replied that I would need women's shoes. I wasn't sure, so she measured my feet and told me I was a size 10. "Women's shoes for you, sir?" Sure. Do you know your size?" When she questioned me about the style I preferred, Rebecca responded that I should wear both a pair of black dressy pumps and a pair of casual flats. The saleswoman then displayed a number of shoes to us. She asked me as I put on the women's shoes, may I ask why you need women's shoes? Well, I'm a crossdresser and I want to become a woman, I said in response. That was reasonably close to the actual truth. She smiled and said, "Oh, that must be difficult. But you're cute, you'll make a pretty woman, and thanks, you're very nice." Somehow I expected a lot worse reactions, so much for positive responses. The woman introduced herself as Emily and said, "You're always welcome here." "Thank you, I'm Dennis. Well, soon Denise. And this is my sister, Rebecca." I explained to her that I was just getting started, doing research, and that I probably needed a lot of practice before I could pass for a woman on the street. She then offered to assist me. I agreed because I liked Emily. We agreed to meet up on Sunday after exchanging phone numbers. I finally settled on 3 pairs of shoes, flats, pumps with low heels, and stiletto heels that were 4 inches high. Rebecca assured me that I would get used to the high heels, even though I was very unsteady in them and almost fell over when I tried to stand up. My sister twice came over to help, but she had her own life too. The next few days, I did more internet research and dressed up at home in the evenings. With the wig, I looked much more womanly and no longer felt so ridiculous. I was extremely anxious on Sunday because it would be the first time anyone besides my family had seen me dressed as a woman. When Emily arrived, we didn't start right away because we didn't know much about each other. She was actually a year younger than me and still lived with her family. I debated whether to receive her dressed as a woman, but I thought she'd like to see each step of the transformation. We discovered that we had quite a few common interests, and I grew to like her more and more before we finally started my transformation. Of course, putting on clothes wasn't that special, but she had some makeup tips that my mom and sister didn't know of. She didn't have the good fortune to have rich parents like me, and so couldn't go to college full-time. But she took some evening courses. I eventually stood in front of her, wearing a blue dress, dark hose, and my black pumps, along with a wide belt, a silk scarf, and a few bracelets, which significantly improved my ensemble. Emily hugged me and said, "Denise, you're really pretty." I blushed and hugged her back. "Thank you, but—" "No but, you asterisk are asterisk pretty," she said, and then she gave me a passionate kiss. It was a romantic dinner with candlelight and wine when we parted, and although we were both a little embarrassed, I didn't regret it in the slightest. After dinner, I modeled some more of the clothes my sister had given me. Although Rebecca had tried to choose clothes that would fit me, some of them didn't look that good on me, and of course they were all used. But with her smiling at me, I felt comfortable in female clothes for the first time. We kissed again as we said our goodbyes, and then Emily said that since the following Wednesday was her day off, she thought we should go shopping. The few clothes I had to try on, I snuck into the changing cubicle and only wore there, with Emily looking in, of course. Shopping with Emily on Wednesday afternoon was nice. I was less nervous this time because I didn't have to try on all the clothes, because I knew my sizes from the clothes I already owned. I needed more underwear, of course, but she insisted on buying lacy bras and undies and even garter belts and stockings, saying she liked her girlfriends to be good-looking and winking at me. After our shopping excursion, we had a quick meal at a restaurant before saying our goodbyes. The following Sunday, I surprised Emily by meeting her in my hottest outfit, a red top, a tight black miniskirt, black stockings, and my 4 inches heels. I put in a lot of practice so that I could walk comfortably in the stiletto heels. Emily suggested that we go outside with me as the woman. I wasn't yet prepared for that. I was convinced to at least go for a walk by my girlfriend, and Emily was most definitely my girlfriend at this point. Furthermore, it was already getting dark, so no one would recognize me. I changed into some comfortable clothing, and then we took a walk around the neighborhood. Naturally, I was apprehensive, but after several people passed by without noticing anything unusual, I felt better. When no one was around, we held hands and even shared a kiss. I was overjoyed to have taken my first steps as a woman in public because it greatly boosted my self-confidence. Now that my girlfriend had accepted and loved me, I also felt a little more at ease wearing women's clothing. I was still unsure of my ability to survive as a woman and whether I would miss being a man. The evening came to an end much too quickly, and Emily had to return home. But not before I gave her a hearty kiss and promised we would go out the following Saturday. Thanks for watching. Check out Patreon if you want to have early access to the other parts. If not, it will be online in a couple of days.